So camcorder camera recording, audio recording, camera 2 recording, and camera 3. Set timer for 29 minutes. Let's go with 25 just to be generous. All right. Looks good. So let's go ahead and go right into it. Let me go ahead and put my mic a little bit down so that the signal doesn't come in so hot. All right, ready in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Alley Cat Podcast. My name is Nayib and I'm your host, Nayib Gypsy Grijalva. As of this recording, it is Wednesday, April 6th. Thank you for another episode of the Alley Cat Podcast. Thank you to my previous guests. As of right now, it has been Mr. Andrew Z and Wilmer Vieda. Thank you guys so much for being part of this podcast and being part of this great network that hopefully soon we can get to a point where we have more guests and more interesting stories to get to. But today, I am doing a solo podcast. Just to keep the content going, keep the content flowing. So, let's go ahead and kick this fucking mule so I can get the intro music started. Take a sip to that. That's great. Today I'm sipping on Crystal Palace vodka and drinking it with some Pepsi through my Tecate cup that I actually I received from my uncle who recently passed away. He was my mother's brother. Fortunately, he did pass away because he had ulcers in his stomach and they ruptured, and he bled and shit himself out to death. But fucking ways to go. And these were some of the cups that I, in a way, I kind of inherited from him. What happens is that in Ensenada, if you buy a pack of Tecate, usually I believe it's either the 18 or the 24 pack, they give you a aluminum cup for you to make, micheladas and keep your beer cold. And since my uncle was a big drinker, he had several of them. And we keep them around the house. I keep one for drinking, which is this red one right here, and I have a blue one that I use for painting. When I do acrylic paints or anything that requires water for me to rinse out my brushes, I keep a blue one of these so that my uncle doesn't only contribute to my debauchery but also to my artwork and what I do for craft. So may he forever rest in peace, still Jose. Maybe later I'll pull up a picture of it in post. But what are we going to talk about? Ever since I started this podcast, I've had an interesting time. I've had my guests. I've had really good views. Thank you to the people that have helped out with this channel, whether it's just watching or listening to it, whether it be on YouTube or Spotify. Like, you guys are very much appreciated. Only thing that I ask for at this point is for you guys to share it and see if you guys can get other people on the Alley Cat Podcast bandwagon, because I would like to get well, preferably YouTube says that if I can get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, I can be monetized. But to be honest, I know this channel is going to be demonetized anyways. But I would still like to grow this channel, maybe have merch, a Patreon page. I was thinking maybe for my Patreon page, I can do not only my solo podcast, but the podcast that I do with my guests. Have it be uncensored, unfiltered, and something simple, $5 a month. For 13 months, you get a month free. I'm gonna follow the Honeydew formula, the Honeydew podcast formula when it comes to Patreon. And for merch, maybe not t-shirts or sweatshirts yet, but I would like to get a beer cozy, and this was a great idea from Jeans. She said that if I was going to do merch, I should sell beer cozies with the Alley Cat Podcast logo on it. So if you would be interested in that, go ahead and leave a like and a comment in the section below, so that there's a bit of incentive to get some Alley Cat Podcast cozies and coasters, so you can enjoy a drink while you listen to the podcast, just like the rest of us. Now, let's see, what have I done in the past previous weeks? I've done some murals for Godaleaf, which shout out to Godaleaf for providing us with the camera that's, being helped to record this podcast on, camera number 2, or number 3 because camera 2 just died. Thank you much for Godaleaf Studios. I've been doing murals for them when I get a chance. I believe they do have some new merch coming out. They have some sweatshirts that are really badass coming out. Let's see what else. Murals, some commission work. I did do, let's see, today's the 6th, so last Sunday, what day was Sunday? According to the calendar, no, I really hate it when they pull up the schedule view. I want the month view. If today is the 6th, it was Sunday the 2nd. I went to an open mic in Hollywood, to Third Wheel Comedy. It was a comedy house. Shout out to Third Wheel Comedy in Hollywood, California. I appreciate that you guys have a very badass venue for open mics. At least I haven't seen the ones on throughout the week. I know you guys do some throughout the week. The Midnight Madness from midnight to 2 in the morning for comics. I'm sure it gets lit as fuck compared to Sunday night. But the Sunday open mic that I attended to this week was badass. From 8 to midnight, it was music. You get 3 songs, and they give you some leeway to chit chatter and set up. So, excuse me, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then again, same thing. Midnight to 2 in the morning was the Midnight Madness for comedy, which I stayed the whole night. Since I do commute, it takes me about 2.5 hours to get to fucking Hollywood from Long Beach. I left my house around 4:30 in the afternoon to make sure I got there on time and have some leeway in case some trains don't make it, or I don't make it to some trains. But it's right there next to Koreatown. I forgot the streets, but Third Wheel Comedy, and we'll get into it. Let's go ahead and talk about my experience there at Third Wheel Comedy. I showed up almost a little bit late. There was already some open micers there that already showed up. And to be honest, especially if I'm in a venue or an environment that I don't really know anybody, I'm going to be kind of shy, kind of dry, and kind of just standoffish. I may say hi to you if you say hi to me, but for the most part, I'm going to stick to myself, kind of look at my shoes, look at my phone for the most part. But when I got there were some people there that, said hi to me and this, that, and the other. I asked them if there was the open mic because when I got to Third Wheel Comedy from the outside, it looked like any other, to be honest, it looked like an abandoned building. There was a couple of windows on the outside. There's a big old gate for the door. and it didn't look like a comedy club. It didn't look like a coffee shop or anything, which is good. You know, it's outside of my expectations. Let's say per se. So I show up, talk to a couple of people. I'm like, "Oh, are you guys here for the open mic?" And they're like, "Yeah. This is woody whoop, woody whoop." And there was this really upbeat dude. He was like, "Hey, what's going on?" You know, and most people like that kind of put me off. But this is why you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Anyways, you know, he's like, woody whoop. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, this, that, and the other. But there was this older woman, I wish to say. I believe she might have been trans, especially, you know, 2023 in Hollywood. She could have been an older trans woman because she still sounded like a man. No offense to my trans people. I love you guys. But if you don't pass, you don't pass. This one, if she was trans woman, she didn't pass. If she was a cisgendered woman, she smoked too many cigarettes back in the day. That's all I gotta say. She starts chatting up, this, that, and the other. How do you make music? How do you make money off of music? To be honest, nowadays, the only way you can make money off of music is merch. You're lucky if you get streams. You're lucky if you get downloads and, you know, buys off your album, because most of the time it's going to end up on YouTube and you just rip it off of YouTube. But still, sell merch. You got to buy that merch. Buy the merch. So there's that and the other. I kind of put on my headphones and ignored people until calling time for the sign up. Everybody walks in. You walk into the fucking lineup. Or not the lineup. You walk into the line. You know, you might buy some Zoom Zooms and some Wham Whams because they were selling like popcorn and soda. I'm not going to say that they sold alcohol, but I'm also not going to say that they sold alcohol. So I plead the fifth on that. Don't sue me. I don't know what the legalities of it, but anyways. Sign up for the list. I think I signed up for I got lucky number 9, which is one of my, what do they call it in brujeria? They call it, like your lifeline or your astro numbers. It was the number 9. So I got number 9 on the list. I tuck myself into a corner, try to be an active participant of the audience until my time. And I'm used to open mics being ran in like a coffee shop or maybe a bar or something. But the way, I'm not going to say his name. Let's say his name is Steve. Let's say the way Steve ran this open mic, even though I fucking already said the name of the venue, but who gives a fuck? The way Steve ran this open mic was very efficient. It was very cutthroat. It's cut out the fat of the bullshit. You know, let's get you set up. Let's get you playing your songs. We'll give you some time. And you got lucky that you got 3 songs because usually it's 10 minutes. And let's take, for example, most songs are about 4 to 5 minutes. That's already 2 songs for 10 minutes. You know, plus your chitter chatter, your bantering, your promotions and things like that. So it seems like it must have been a slow night where we were able to do 3 songs, which I was very blessed and grateful for. Give me a second. But anyways, I'd say Steve starts the open mic. He played a couple songs, and he's a very attractive man. And for anyone who knows me, they know that I'm pansexual, bisexual for people who don't understand what pansexual means. He's a very attractive man, very fit, very good looking dude. He reminded me of Ryan Gosling, but I'm pretty sure he's a fucking comic. Let's say Steve is, I'm pretty sure he's a comic because he had a cadence, he had the charisma of a comic, but he's still talented enough to play some songs and play them correctly and with a lot of gusto, as we say. Goes up, plays 3 songs, and we kind of just go through it. And going back to that older woman who may or may not have been trans, let's say her name is let's say her name is, what's a good name that's close to it? That's too close. Let's say her name is Candace. All right, so Miss Candace goes up and, oh my God, if I've never, what do I have to say? So Miss Candace tries to say that she's a gospel singer and this, that, and the other. Poor broad. I feel bad because I've been there before, at least in the sense that maybe you have a backing track or you want to do karaoke and your device for said backing track is not working and this, that, and the other. So what she did is that she got one of the other open micers who was a musician who shall remain nameless. She said, come up on stage and just play whatever. Improvise. And I give a lot of props to this musician. Let's say his name is Alfredo. To Alfredo. He goes up, he plays with Candace, and I'm not going to lie to you. She's a decent singer. She can carry a melody. She can improvise a melody. When it comes to lyrics, that's anybody's fair game. You know, fuck it. No one can improvise lyrics unless you're a freestyle rapper. So, you know, let's take that off the table. But her melodies were good. The only thing that I have to critique, and I can't say anything because I'm not a singer, but I will say because it's my podcast, and if you don't like it, you can fuck right off. Her power off. Oh, that's the speaker in the background. Her vibrato was a little bit too much in the sense that she was getting microtonal, which is fine. That's a musical technique that some musicians use. I think even Adele used it on like a song a couple years ago, but it was a fever dream. It was a gospel singer who I understand she can haul ass. If she knew what she was doing, she would have been a good performer. As an improviser, on a scale of 1 to 10, honestly, a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. No problem. But it was a fever dream just because it was right in your ear. And I felt bad because realizing in hindsight there was a lot of stand-up comics there. And they were laughing their ass off in the back. And I was trying my best not to laugh because it was so surreal, I wish to say, that I couldn't do anything else but laugh. But, you know, Alfredo did a good job as a backing guitarist. And Candace did her best improvising lines. And I can tell she was expressing an emotion that, you know, she probably couldn't express if she were to sit down on pen and paper and write it down. So, you know, I can't bust her chops too much because at the end of the day, music is about expression of an emotion. Whether it's through a melody or harmony or singing or scat or whatever. She went up and she fucking murdered, in a sense. Even though, like I said, I was trying to fucking hold in a laugh and it felt like a fever dream. But, I mean, she was willing to go up on stage and do what most people wouldn't be able to do. So I give her a lot of chops for being brave. But other than that, Candace, all I can say is be a little bit more prepared. And that's about it, the highlight. There were some other musicians that were very talented, and turns out they were comics. So I'm not. There goes the fucking timer. Let me see if I can reset the timer. Let me see if I can reset the camera. I'll be right back. Let's take a word from our sponsors. Oh, excuse me. Looks like the battery's exhausted on the camera, which makes sense because I bought those fucking batteries at the Dollar Tree. So fuck them. If anything, I'll probably invest in rechargeable batteries that can last. If not, maybe I'll buy me a DC cable to connect that to the thing. But we could always crop that video into this. But anyways, there were some musicians that went up. I wish I knew their Instagram. I wish I knew their names. If not, I would promote it. If not, by the time this episode comes up, I'll probably promote them down in the description below. But, and this is where they surprised me because, give me a second. Excuse me. This is where they surprise me, because when I think of comedy and music, I try to think of them as two separate entities. And, you know, they're two very different crafts that take a long time to master, to practice, especially when it comes to performance and recording and this, that, and the other. Now, when it comes to musical comedy, my first exposure was through Tim Hawkins, a Christian stand-up comedian that I discovered way back. I must have been 8, 10 years old on a public act. Do you guys remember Public Access TV? On Public Access TV at 2, 3 in the morning, trying to sell copies of his latest special. Now, I did see some of his bits as he was a stand-up comic, but what I remember the most was his parodies of songs. So there is an element of musical comedy. There's him, and then there's that other guy. I forgot his name, but he does that one song that goes, "Welcome to the internet, see what you can find." Oh, I know who he is. I forgot his name, but he did that song, and then way back in the day, he did that whole song that goes, "My whole family thinks I'm gay. I guess it's always been that way. I guess it's 'cause of the way that I walk. I guess it's the way 'cause I like boys. And I like boys." Whether or not he was gay doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure he was going for the bit. So that was my exposure to musical comedy. And ever since, I've been listening to podcasters who are comedians, such as Tom Segura, Christina Pajitsky, Bert Kreischer, Joey Diaz, Andrew Santino. I can go down the whole list of the all-stars of modern comedic podcasting. Chris Stefano. But excuse me. What seems to be a universal factor is that as a stand-up comic, if you're doing musical comedy or ventriloquism, like, what's that dude's name? Jeff Dunham. The "Silence! I kill you!" Motherfucker. It's like a hack. Because, and quote me if I'm wrong. I mean, not quote me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I may be, but this is what I've observed, and this is what I believe to be true. That to be a true stand-up comic, it involves a lot of crowd work, a lot of practice, and a lot of writing. No gimmicks. Just you, your voice, a microphone, and to be sharp, on point. So, anyways, going back to these musical comics. At first, I thought they were just actual songwriters that were trying to be funny. They were singing songs about this, that, and the other. And I asked, I forgot his name, but the first guy that went up that did those funny songs, as I'm gonna put it, I go out to him, I was like, "Hey, dude, have you ever considered doing stand-up comedy?" He's like, "Yeah, bruh. I've been doing it for like 15 years. I was like, "Oh my God, that makes sense, because you have the cadence, you have the rhythm of comedy." Because, again, I might not be an expert in stand-up comedy, and to be honest, I don't listen to a lot of stand-up specials, but there's this cadence that I'm trying to replicate. I'm not gonna lie to you. But anyways, so he goes up, the other guy goes up, and by the time the second guy goes up, I forgot his name, and I'm not gonna say his name, but if I do remember him, I'm gonna put him in the description below. I go out to him, I go, "Hey, bub, let me guess, you're a stand-up comic too?" He's like, "Of course I am." I was like, "Dude, that's two stand-up comics that are doing music." Which is fine. I have no prejudice against it. It's just the only comedic musical act that I've seen or listened to that I feel like has both musical talent and comedic value was Tenacious D before that, because there was like the Lonely Islands and shit like that were SNL skits, but they weren't trying to do music seriously with a comedic twist, and that's my gripe. But again, I'm mediocre at best when it comes to music, and I'm fucking below average when it comes to comedy. So who am I to judge? Who am I to talk shit? I'm not an expert, but that's just my opinion. That's just something I observed. And there are some more open micers. I'm fucking spitting all over my stupid pop screen. Before I went up, there was a couple of really talented acts. There was this hippy dippy looking guy that looked like a white version of Jimi Hendrix with long hair, that went up and played some of his originals. He was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie to you. He was really good. He got the crowd working. He did some crowd work, so he was good. And then when it came my turn to go up, and here comes the kicker. Oh, shit. God damn it. Fuck, what happened when I went up? So when I do open mics, I'm usually used to looking at the list and seeing who's going up next to me, or who's about one or two acts before me, and this, that, and the other. But there goes the fucking alarm. Hold on. Fuck off. So, excuse me. I'm usually used to the list being in front of me and me asking, oh, what time am I going to up? Do I got one or two more acts going up? And we'll get sidetracked for a little bit. So excuse me. This was a very professional, legit fucking open mic. So the MC or the host, I usually say MC because he was the guy behind the mic. And I've never felt more hyped up for other performers and for myself ever in my life. And this is why I want to go back to that open mic, because it was so badass. Give me a second. So let's say, for example, Steve, Jill, and me are going to go up. Steve's up on stage. The MC goes, right now, going up on stage is Steve, and on deck is Jill. And I didn't know that on deck means like you're waiting to go up. Did not know that, especially when it comes to, I feel like that's a comic thing. I very much to the MC Steve. I didn't realize that, because when he said my name, I went up on stage like fucking half a retard, thinking it was my turn, and it wasn't. It was the person before me. So after Steve is done, Jill goes up and he goes, all right, coming back up on the stage is Jill, and next on the deck is Gypsy, which means I'm coming up next after Jill. And I did not realize that. So, after that, I realized, I go up to the MC. Again, his name is Steve. I go, hey, Steve, dude, I'm sorry, man. I didn't fucking get it. I realized what now on deck means. He's like, yeah, dude, no fucking problem. And when I get up on stage, I mean, it's a new venue, it's a new crowd, and I was really nervous. And I know it sounds like an excuse, and it is going to be my excuse, but they didn't have those type of microphone stands that do this. The regular microphones, it was the straight up stand-up ones. And they're really bad when it comes to having an acoustic guitar, because you can't really angle it the way you want it to. And it comes too close to the guitar, especially because I like to move around and kind of get really articulate with my hands. But I got really nervous. I couldn't fucking set up my shit. And let's see, what songs did I play? I opened up with Tears and Booze, which I did fuck up on because the guitar that I have has like a weird patterning system for its frets, but I mean, it still works. But I fucked up. I got nervous. I fucked up my fucking fretting hand. I got frustrated myself. If I would have recorded it, you probably would have seen me. I believe it was in the first chorus where I said, usually I say to sing the freaking blues, but I said to sing the fucking blues, and I fucking struck a big old chord because I was so frustrated with my hands, like not being able to do what I tell them. And then I got big cheers for that, which thank you very much, Third Wheel Comedy, for being very supportive. And then, what was the second song I did? Second song that I did was, I did Bumps and Bruises, which, we'll talk about it more in depth on another podcast, but basically, Bumps and Bruises is about this girl that I met in rehab who was a heroin junkie. Then she was on federal parole with an ankle bracelet because she stole school property from the LASU, some school district. It was either LA or LB USD. Anyways, and I wrote that song about her. And I played it, and I'm really proud of the way I opened up that song. I said, this next song is about, a pretty good reason why I shouldn't date a girl with an ankle bracelet. And I loved it because someone in the audience, and I think I know who it was, this really pretty white girl that looks like one of my ex-girlfriends. And she's tall, too. Tall, blonde woman. Something about tall, blonde woman fucking really gets my fucking feathers fluffed up. But she was like, that's pretty specific. And I just kept my mouth shut and I played the song. I played Bumps and Bruises. And I never really ask for interaction from the audience. Excuse me. Especially because, I don't have any recordings of my songs out there for people to listen to and memorize the lyrics and the melody to. But the thing about Bumps and Bruises is that it's a pretty easy melody to pick up. The lyrics are pretty simple. So by the time I came around to the second chorus, I'm really happy about this. I'm not gonna lie to you. Looking back, it doesn't give me shivers down my spines, but it makes me feel good about myself. I was like, everybody, sing along with me. And maybe not the whole bar, maybe not the whole venue, but at least half of them were singing along with me for Bumps and Bruises. And it was pretty fucking badass. I'm not gonna lie to you. It made me feel fucking good. I just wish that I knew how to play the harmonica, because if I'm gonna sing my songs acoustically and have a solo, I need to learn how to play harmonica. Like, I don't mind learning how to play harmonica while I play guitar and shit, but the thing is, I don't know how to fucking play harmonica. I always get confused with the in and the out breaths. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe if you blow out, it's the original note that's on the fucking harmonica. But if you blow in, or suck in air, whatever you want to call it, I believe it goes up or down by a half step. I think. Don't quote me. I'm not no fucking music major, but that's one thing that I did notice. So it's got its own fucking, in Spanish we say, tiene su propio puto chiste. But it would have been badass if I did my first and second song with that solo. And then, what did I close with? Right before I went down the stage, I kind of asked through the mic. I asked the MC, the host, Steve. I say to him, I was like, "Hey, Steve, do I have time for one more?" Which I didn't think, because usually, like I said, 10 minutes is 2 songs. But since it was a medium average crowd, we were able to do 3 songs. So, yeah, he said, yeah, dude, go for it. You got another time for another song. And luckily, my songs are about, I think my shortest one is 3.5 minutes, and my longest one is like maybe 15 seconds, 5 minutes, 15 seconds long. So, I closed my 3-song set with The Witch of Hollywood, which maybe I'll get into in a second, because I was in Hollywood. But the way I opened it was with I said, I know she's not here tonight, but I know that bruja is out there. And then I heard some people in the back going, bruja? What did you say? And I was like, this is the Witch of Hollywood. And then I go straight into the Witch of Hollywood, even though it was in the wrong key. I play that song. Fuck it, I'll go into it since I got time to kill. We're at 35 minutes. I mean, I could talk about what the fuck I want. This is my podcast. This is a solo podcast. If you don't like it, I can go listen to some other bullshit. But give me a drink. I see, se cree muy hardcore. So The Witch of Hollywood is about let's give some background. So let's say I got busted for a DUI, and since I had some drunken publics and some tickets, I had to serve some time and go to a program. I had to go through I'm not gonna say the name of the program because it's one of the most famous ones in Los Angeles, and those who follow my channel know where I've been. But after I do my inpatient, I go to a halfway house, a sober living, and I was in Pasadena, and this person was living in Hollywood. And it was my first time out, and I messaged them on this dating app. I'm not going to say which dating app. We met up, hooked around and stuff, and for a while we had a decent, really awesome relationship. But unfortunately, I did relapse pretty fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie to you, the viewer. I was going through a rough patch, and I decided to commit suicide through an overdose on trazodone and what was the other medication? Trazodone and Seroquel. I don't fucking know, dude. Basically, it was uppers for the day for mental health and downers for the night. And I don't want to talk too much about when I was in the 5150, at least yet, because I have a song about it. But when I came back out, I went back to rehab, and I wrote this song about her. Not her, they, them. At that time, they were non-binary. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a reason why I wrote this song about they, them. Because they were my first non-heteronormative relationship at that time. Now, she is trans. And I do my best to stay in communication with her and let her know that I still care about her and I'm still there for her. Excuse me, in any way that I can. Whether it's rolling a joint or some type of emotional support or hanging out or something. And so to me, she's the Witch of Hollywood, because when I met her, she was living in Hollywood, and this bruja is fucking magical, I swear to God. She's not the only bruja in my life, because I got some other ones, but this was my first exposure into that type of lifestyle and that type of mysticism, I want to say, but most definitely, she's the Witch of Hollywood. Oh, shit. And I close off with that, and then going back to the open mic, the rest of the night was badass. I mean, there was this Yoko Ono looking and sounding ass bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh, I can't even say. I'm not gonna say that. If you know me in private life, you know which word I'm trying to say, but I'm not gonna say it on the podcast. But this Yoko Ono looking ass bitch, was there at the open mic, and she asked me. She's like, "Hey, can I use your guitar?" And I have no problem. Hey, you want to use my fucking little? I'll leave it. It's probably somewhere in the corner. You want to use my guitar? No problem. Just know that the action is really high, and when you get up to these frets, excuse me. Fuck. There we go. It's gonna get kind of hard to fucking play this thing. And unfortunately, the action was too high for her to play. So fuck it, whatever. I don't give a shit. But man, that Asian chick played a good set. Oh shit! Wait! Before we go back into her set, my set, I got nervous. I fucked up a couple of bits, but whatever. I got people to sing along, and they enjoyed my song. So fuck it. Wrap it up. Next, that Asian chick, she did I think she did 2 originals, and she did a cover of that song from the Bee Gees that goes hold on, let me see if I can sing it. Cause we're living in a world of truth. Bring us down. Wait, bringing us down. There we go. No, 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 no. You belong to you and me. Yeah, How Deep Is Your Love by the Bee Gees. That's what she did a banging cover. She had the whole fucking crowd. We didn't get to the point where we were fucking flicking lighters and shit, but she had the whole crowd singing along, going, breaking us down. It was badass, dude. She just put out a new single. I think I might shout her out on. Yeah, shit. Here he goes. Hold on. I'll tell you that story in a bit. But no, she just put out a new single, and hold on. She put out a new single, and I'm glad for her, but let me tell you my gripe. I'm going to be very honest. And you could disagree with me, or you can agree with me. I don't really care. But this is my opinion. This is my podcast, so I'm going to fucking speak it. But she said, it's no more. Well, I adjust my fucking mic to my... But anyways, she was promoting her single, which I get. Trust me, if I had a single, I'd fucking promote the shit out of it too. But this is what happens with these indie singer-songwriter types. That instead of buying a decent interface and a decent DAW and programming their own backing tracks, they go to a studio and they pay, let's say, ballpark $50 to $100 an hour for recording and then mastering. Hold on. Motherfucker. There's a silver fish on the lamp. Anyways, they're fucking paying $50 to $100 for these fucking recording artists to fucking give them a straight audio recording of what they could have done at home. And then mastering on top of that is another $50 to $100 an hour to produce a single that sounds like some shit you could have fucking produced on Fruity Loops, man. Like, again, I can't judge. I get it. You want your shit to sound fucking good, but I don't know. Maybe because I come from a different world. Like, I grew up listening to Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails and a bunch of punk rock bands. Like, I'm used to shit sounding like shit just to get the musical idea across. But these fucking indie hipsters, motherfuckers, don't want that shit. They'll spend fucking 4 hours in a recording studio just to produce a song that is just vocals and 4 chords played over a guitar and a ukulele, and it's like, motherfucker. I mean, don't hate the game, what is it? What do you say? Don't hate the player, hate the game, but still, motherfucker. I used to do my own 4-track recording on an Android phone that sounded like shit. And I want to go back to that. I want to go back to my roots. Even if I have to program my own fucking drums and my own bass, fuck it. And I've done it before. If you look up on my main YouTube channel, Tears and Booze, the instrumental, that's all shit I program on Fruity Loops on my phone. I didn't even do it on my tablet. I did it on my phone, dude. I probably fucking made most of the tracks while I was taking a shit. So, anyways, going back to that fucking Yoko Ono chick. She's very talented, but I can understand she's very timid and she was very nervous. I don't know if it was her first time there or first time open micing, but she'll get the hang of it. I have a lot of faith in her. And she seems like a nice chick. And then, oh fuck, it was a couple acts before me. I think I want to say 2 or 3 acts before I went up. There's this guy. Oh my god. Hold on, give me a second while I evaluate this guy. If I don't know what a college rapist looks like, I feel like he would be the epitome of it. He's blonde-haired, blue eyes, and his eyes give you that dead stare in your face, like it's like something beyond an autistic kid. At least an autistic kid will kind of get the hit eventually, but this guy, no. And I mean, he seemed like a nice guy at first, but then he started talking about Christ and listen, bub. Here, hold on. I am not opposed to the idea of religion. Much less if your belief system, whether it be Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Jehovah's Witness, anti-LaVey Satanism, atheism. I don't give a fuck what the fuck you believe in. But if it makes you a better person, that it gives you some type of moral direction, then fucking fine, dude. Enjoy it. Don't hurt others. I don't care if you gotta fucking cut the heads off of chickens every now and then, you know, just to fucking make shit happen. Fuck it. But this guy took Christ so far up the ass. I was uncomfortable with it. Luckily, he didn't try to convert me or say, like, oh, if you don't believe in Christ, you're gonna burn in hell. Those guys can fuck right off. Those guys are the worst. But from what I heard through the grapevine and through being chismoso, what can I gather from, let's say his name is Jeffrey. His name is Jeffrey. Like I said, Jeffrey, blonde hair, blue eyes. I don't think he was autistic. I think he might have been hyperactive because during the open mic he was very energetic, which I guess I get it. You're trying to be supportive of the shit, but when you're headbanging to the Bee Gees, I think there's a couple wires a little bit crossed. Anyways, talks about Christ, this, that, and the other. He seems like a nice guy. He did a cover of what's that song from Elvis that goes Falling in Love, which I give him props, dude. All right, here, hold on. Let me take a drink because the way he did Falling in Love was badass. Hold on. So what this Christian motherfucker did is that he sang the verses very slow. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Falling in love with you. And then the fucking, I think it was like, I was out there, verse or chorus comes in. He goes, it was fucking badass, dude. I give him props for that shit, dude. But it was energetic. He looks like he was part of the Aryan Nation. But, I mean, from what I remember hearing from the grapevine is that the open mics keeps him from doing drugs. It keeps him busy, so more props to you, dude. I may be not sober because I'm fucking drinking alcohol. But I am clean. I'm not even clean because I fucking smoke weed. But for the people that are clean and that are sober, much props to you guys. You are doing what my humble abode cannot do. And I hope you guys do well out there, dude. And if you fall off the bandwagon, us here at the Alley Cat Podcast, we're going to be right here waiting for you guys to support you and get back on there. But, yeah. So, that was that guy, the white guy, that fucking trans woman, me. I think it was maybe 1 or 2 acts after I went up. It was Alfredo. Again, his name, shopping name, Leftless. Alfredo went up. And I noticed his setup. I was fucking need another drink. Give me a second while I make another drink. We'll take another fucking break from our sponsors. All right, thank you. Back to the LA Cat Podcast with our sponsors, brought to you by the Tecate, Pepsi, and vodka. Crystal Palace. What were we talking about? We were talking about the last act, a couple acts after me. And I saw his setup. He had the electric guitar plugged into the amplifier. And he had a backing track, and I think he had a looper, which was badass, dude. Hey, man, I know it took a minute or two to fucking set it up, but by the time he went up to fucking play that shit, it was badass. And even though he played one song, he ripped through that shit, dude. I believe it was maybe 6 or 7 minutes long, but it was badass. The only critique, and this goes to Alfredo. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to humiliate him. And I don't want to speak ill of him. But coming from a guitar player standpoint, you should have went with the lead points because I understand. I can see from what you were playing, you're a rhythm guitar player. You're a rhythm guitar player and you're a bassist. You're more in the rhythm than in the lead. Because your solos, they were very much like wow, wow, wow type of solos. Like they had length to it. They weren't melodic. They weren't like which I understand because again, I'm a bassist. I'm a bass player. We try to serve the song. We try to serve the chord progressions versus being all fucking flashy and shit. Fuck all that shit, dude. I'd rather have a solid bass line that serves the song than some fucking shredding shit that doesn't make sense. But you did good, dude. You had a lot of heart. I wish I could say this open micer's name because I wish I remembered it, but I know who he is, and he reminded me and reminds me a lot of me because when I do my electric guitar stuff, I try to haul ass. I try to fucking go balls to the wall. But it's a different level when it comes to loopers and backing tracks. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I'm fucking jealous of you, dude. That shit was badass. And I wish there was some way for me to help you to fucking play some bass. Or drums or something. Keyboard, something. Like, I really like to just be part of a band and help out. But it's neither here nor there. After he left, there were some more comics, this, that, and the other. Once it came to Midnight Madness, that was a whole different beast. After the open micers for the music left, all the comic open micers showed up and did their thing. I forgot what slot I signed up for. It must have been 8 or 9, about the same. For comedy. And I stayed. They give you 3 minutes, which is fucking nothing, dude. It's nothing, and the thing is, it's like if you have some type of rapport or what's the word I'm looking for? Rapport or reputation with the open mic owner. Instead of a 3-minute set, they might give you a 5 or a 10-minute set before they flash the lights on. But fuck, that's where things switched up. Hold on. Let me process how that night went when it came to comedy. I love comedy. I swear. I love comedy. I love Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr, Tom Segura, Christina P. I can go down the list again just like I did. But when it comes to comedy, Third Wheel is very cut and dry. Their doorman, I'm not gonna lie, he was kind of an asshole. I get it. Maybe my personality isn't for everybody. My comedy probably isn't for everybody, but still. The way he made it seem, and this is my interpretation, my own guilt, my own insecurities. He was like, Well, I guess since they didn't like your comedy, you're gonna fucking fail at this. But it's like, dude, I make people laugh, even at my own expense. And I saw him do stand up, and he was targeting me. When he went up on stage, he was targeting. He was looking at me like, "Yeah, you think I'm an asshole? Like, dude, fucking work on some other shit." He was a fucking hack. He was a hack. And I know he was targeting me because he looked at me dead in the eye. I was like, dude, get this shit away from me. Work on better material than just me shitting on you being a bad fucking doorman. When I saw you at the door, you were rolling joints. You weren't working on your comedy. You weren't fucking sitting at a notebook trying to come up with shit. You look like Rafi May. You have the shitty attitude of fucking Joey Diaz. But you had no jokes. You had the jokes of Tosh.0. Yeah, you ran a decent open mic. Come in and out. This, that, and the other. But your jokes suck. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't know it. Just know that he's right there at 3rd Street. He's a dick, man. I still appreciate it though, because when I went to the open mic, they ran a very efficient open mic. In, out, in, out, in, out. They'll hop you up, this, that, and the other. God forbid I ever ask him for fucking advice on comedy. Anyways, that was my gripe before I went up on stage. Like I said, they were doing 3-minute sets, and some of them were very funny. Very funny. But when I did my 3 minutes of stand-up... Fuck, let me get a drink. I forgot what time I went up. It must have been 12:30, 12:37. And this is where I fuck up. I could have written down the setup and punchline on my on a little notebook, on a little piece of paper, just so where I know to go. But I believe in the old school of comedy where it's like I go up, talk some shit, look like Seinfeld. Hey, what a bim, para boom. And I forgot half of my fucking jokes. What was... Because I've done 5 minutes. I've done 10 minutes. But when my 5 minutes turns into a fucking... When my 5 minutes turns into a 15-minute thing, it feels fucked up, man. Especially with writers and this, that, and the other. But I don't know what to say. I mean, see how much time we're looking at. 104. We got another half hour before we can fucking call it quits. Recently I watched some pretty good horror movies. I watched Shell Shocked from Trauma theaters. I watched Bad Taste, which had a lot of good horror, B-movie horror. I'm a big fan of B-horror movies because you can accomplish a lot of fucking gore and horror with not a lot of which is like fucked up because the past few days I watched like Spider-Man and all these fucking Marvel movies and shit, but they don't have the same I'm not sure if the word is aesthetic. They don't have the same appeal as the other. That's up a simple word. It's not the same appeal as any other aesthetic. I mean, see what else is going on. Something about a podcast. This is the Alley Cat Podcast. I got First Fridays coming up this weekend on Friday, 6:30 to like maybe 9:30. I'm gonna be selling some of my art and some tables, and hopefully I get some clients, honestly. What else? I mean, because I don't keep up with current news. The most current news that I've seen on Instagram and Facebook and this, that, and the other is the new Harley Quinn Joker thing and Barbie and Ken, but it's like, oh, fuck off. Okay, fuck off, man. I don't mean to be a boomer or anything, but honestly, when it comes to fucking Harley Quinn and the Joker couples goals, I've done it. It's not fucking worth the wait. If you really want to be couples golds, maybe Morticia Adams and Gomez Adams, but honestly, I don't know what to tell you. Just be happy with who you're with, and fucking 1:07. What the fuck do you want me to talk about for the next 23 minutes, man? Fuck it. Let's end this episode right here, dude. It's 1:27. It's pretty late. I'm pretty fucked up. Drinking off of vodka and soda. I hope you guys are too. Hopefully by next Wednesday we'll have a better week. And I mean, let's see. Let's promote. This is the Alley Cat Podcast. Wait, let's see if we have any Q&As real quick. Last check. Last call. You ain't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. Yeah, no. Okay, so for all you TikToks, no more episodes coming up until maybe next week. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them to the alleycatpodcast@gmail.com or give us a call at 310-629-7766. Oh, excuse me. Again, voicemails at Voicemails at 310-629-7766. Give us a call, send us an email, and let's see what's going on. Welcome back to that podcast. Thank you for listening. Listen, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, welcome back to the app.